Welcome to Calm Nation.
Hello.
I knew he thought it was a good plan! Come on, troll! Over here, you dog! Here I am! Hold it, you dumb blonde, they have guns! We have the right and the might!
We have the right and the might. Watch out for the car!
This is where they got the idea for the Avengers movie?
Obviously. Look at that tiny little hammer. Teeny tiny little hammer.
And they're cutting the side of the main camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to in case anyone's confused, that is not the latest. That is absolutely not the latest trailer from Thor: Love and Thunder. That's
No.
it's I know you were wondering. That is from an Incredible Hulk movie from
The Return of the Incredible Hulk.
which featured Thor hanging out.
Yes.
Um,
Along with the late great Luke. Well, no. Still around, Lou Ferrigno.
yeah, Luke
Right.
Ferrigno, and again, just to recall, it's like this was back in the day. All Luke Ferrigno did was like get spray painted green. That was all him.
Yeah.
He was so much bigger than Thor. But yeah, this is yeah. I know you're thinking, wow, that that clip was so great. Of course, they went on to do a big Thor movie. Of course.
Of course it is.
Anyway,
Eventually.
but good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for coming
And
to
thanks for
Comics
coming.
Trivia.
If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time,
Welcome.
you are welcome. Yep.
Thank you guys. Thanks for checking us out.
Please take a moment, if you don't mind. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe. There's apparently a little bell you can hit.
Yes.
That will remind you when we're coming on, so that you won't miss great clips like that from the Thor Hulk movie. Because that was great.
Yeah.
Tonight you can also go to our website at com-nation.com. Sign up for our mailing list. All these things are good.
Hit our Twitter.
Tonight. Hit our Twitter. Yep. Instagram. All these things.
Yep.
Tonight we're talking about Thor because Thor Love and Thunder comes out in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to take a minute to talk about a graphic novel that we know that kind of looks as though the upcoming movie took a little bit of inspiration from it. That would be Thor, Goddess of Thunder.
Right. Because, equal opportunity. Storm wielders.
Yep. Now, again, if you want to play the trivia, go to crowd.live, plug in this code. If you've got the extra screen, scan the code. There's rules and regulations, and I advise you to go to our website and check them out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not gonna waste your time with it, but
no.
Let's talk about Thor.
Yeah.
Countdown started. When did Marvel's Thor first appear? Now, just as a reminder, you know this, right? Thor, Thor's Day, actual mythological character.
Yes.
What you may not know is that DC got pitched a version of Thor.
Mm-hmm. By Jack the King Kirby, no less.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
According to an interview, Kirby said that he did a version of Thor in DC in the 50s before he did him for Marvel's. And he
was much more of a true Viking-looking like character with red hair and a beard and slightly different kind of hammer. And actually, at one point in the 70s, I think Roy Thomas even brought him back.
Yep. But this wasn't
Thor.
Yeah, because he was Thor. But this wasn't the Thor we know. This wasn't the Thor we love. They, much like Superman back in the day,
Yeah.
DC passed on Thor.
Go figure.
So, not the best decision. Anyway, next question. What or who was Thor's secret identity? It's not Thomas Wayne, that's Batman's dad.
Right.
It was Dr. Donald Blake. Now, a couple of things. First of all, in the movie, the first Thor movie, you'll notice that when Natalie Portman gives Thor her ex-boyfriend stuff, his name, the ex-boyfriend, is Donald Blake.
Right.
In comics continuity, Donald Blake was either a regular old mortal who found a secret, a magical walking stick and was able to become Thor, or Thor's father, Odin, decided his son needed to be taught humility and consequently reincarnates Thor without memories of being a god on Earth as a mortal. And then it's only when he's making a trip to Norway that he discovers, that he's Thor.
Finds a mystic cane and wraps it against a rock. And is bathed
As you do.
in lightning. Well, actually, it's because he was trapped in a cave in the original story.
There's that too. But but sometimes he's always been Donald Blake. Sometimes he's always been Thor.
Yeah.
And the movie just sort of skipped that part entirely. Mm-hmm. And, some true believers, let's face it, they don't like that.
Yeah.
But, oh, hey, Todd, for no additional points, Dr. Charles McNarder
is actually Dr. Midnight, who can had an injury, so he couldn't see except for in the dark.
How'd you do?
Leonard Samson is Doc Samson, the green-haired, gamma-radiated psychologist to the superheroes. Yeah.
Green-haired psychologist. There you go. Okay, next question. That first hammer, remember?
Mm-hmm. Oh, my Lanta.
It's not my Lanta. It's Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Right?
Yes.
Mjolnir? Let's
Mjolnir.
go with that.
Meow meow.
Mjolnir.
As Darcy likes to call it. Meow
I
meow?
know. It's Mjolnir. Let's go.
Mjol-
Mjolnir. I
Yep.
could be wrong, but I'm going with it. Not meow meow. Not meow meow. I could be wrong, but I'm going with it. So
Yeah. It's
that's the
Mjolnir.
first hammer.
Say what it is.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And in this series, Thor believes he is no longer worthy.
Right. And therefore cannot raise the hammer. So he leaves
Todd,
it.
do you hate it when you can't get hammered?
Well,
Yeah, okay. That's a bad joke. There's just no good place to go. But yeah, apparently he sort of throws the hammer on the moon, as you do.
you know,
Yes.
ties in with the tides. And... Anyway.
Now, which of the following isn't an Asgardian weapon? There are tons of Asgardian weapons, y'all.
There are.
Tons. So, Jarnbjorn was actually Thor's first weapon in comics. It's the axe, which in this graphic novel he does wield about. It's a little bit magical, but but not as magical.
Right.
Stormbreaker, you'll remember from the which movie was it? I get confused.
That's actually in Infinity War that he gets it from the.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, it has a slightly different continuity in the comic than it does in the movie, but it does exist in the comics.
Yes.
And Gungnir,
Gungnir.
That's Odin's. Do not, maybe you borrow your dad's car, but you do not borrow his steel. You do not borrow, that would be bad.
It's a golden spear made by the same guy that made.
Exactly. Get your own. Get your own, kid. Get your own. But Oathkeeper. And Todd, for an additional no points, where's Oathkeeper from?
It's there. We just talked about this not 30 seconds ago.
Yep. Game of Thrones, y'all.
Game of Thrones.
It is it's a it's one of two that gets made from Eddard Stark's greatsword.
Yes.
But it is not an Asgardian weapon. No.
Yeah.
Now, Mjolnir can do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But what can it do? What can't Mjolnir summon?
It's great for breaking walnuts.
So there's a ton of stuff. Mjolnir seems to be one of those situations where, depending on who's wielding it, there's different powers and different things happen. But snow has never been one of them. And I'm going to go out on, and that's why it's like you can't do snow. It can create vortices. It can emit antimatter particles. It can absorb energy. It can hit nails. It can apparently destroy cars, as we saw.
Right. Goes to them like grease lightning.
Yes, but There's a bunch of stuff it can do, but it doesn't bring snow. That's not part of the thing.
That's because it's a whole separate thing with the Norse people.
Exactly. Now, which of these folks can't, or at least has never wielded Mjolnir? And you'll notice a couple of these folks, 3 of these folks are,
Not even Marvel characters.
not even Marvel characters.
And yet.
So, my favorite is Wonder Woman, because which happened with Marvel versus DC, and it was just a situation where Wonder Woman picked it up, handed it to him. There you go, drop this.
Yeah.
But
because
Todd
who's not more worthy than Wonder Woman?
Exactly. Todd was telling me that you'll remember in the movie where Captain America picks it up, hands it to Thor. And apparently that was pretty much a direct lift off of this Avengers JLA crossover,
right,
where Superman picked it up.
Yep.
But my favorite little fun fact is that Moon Knight has the ability to lift and wield and control Mjolnir because
it's moon rock.
It's made out of moon rock. And Moon Knight, if it's about the moon, y'all,
he's all about the phases of the moon.
So with Khonshu's help, yes, Moon Knight has the ability to create stuff that's made out of moon rock.
That's right.
So Batman, however, no. It's half of it is believing that you're worthy, and I just don't think, come on. Batman?
Yeah. He's told a few lies in his time. He's
couple
close, but he's probably not quite there.
Don't let Batman babysit your children. All I'm saying.
Yeah, just throw that in there.
Now, who or what drives Thor's chariot? This is something that, this is something that got picked up from the actual Norse mythology.
Yes.
And then got and put into the Marvel comics. And it's goats.
It's goats. Goat power.
Goats. Yeah, Thor likes to ride goats. Now the crows, by the way, they do figure heavily into both Norse mythology and Asgardian stories.
You see them flittering around Odin's throne a lot. And various fun
Although
things.
it's like, sometimes they're referred to as crows, sometimes they're referred to as ravens. Their names are what? Hune and Munin, I think. The crows have names. The crows are characters. The crows have names. They give advice. They spy, etc. I'm trying to think. They were shown in one of the Thor movies when I think they were standing, but like not to the big extent that we have seen them.
Yeah.
And I'm told that Hunin and thought and memory. And there's going to be Disney Plus is going to do a mini series, which is Detective Loki and the Crows of Asgard, not to be confused with the Ravens, unless they're the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, not to crow about it. So, but driving the chariot, they're goats.
They're goats.
And what are their names?
Goat's names, yes.
Here's a hint. The names translates into tooth gnasher and tooth grinder. That helps, right?
Sure, absolutely. Because when you're speaking Nordic.
Exactly. All you had to do is, plug that into Norse and there you go. So again.
Tandisner and Tandnosner.
Yeah, them. So this is Norse mythology, which, yes, got pulled into Marvel continuity. Now, according to Norse mythology, the two mystical goats, not just any goats, but mystical goats,
Two goats.
would pull Thor's chariots all day. And at the end of a hard day of driving that chariot, Thor would kill them and then eat them.
Right.
And then the following morning, Thor would use Mjolnir to resurrect and reincarnate them, bring them back from the dead. And then they do it all over again.
Right.
I would so get a new job.
But that's how Thor gets your goat.
The jokes are bad. Again, this is not something Marvel's ever done to my knowledge. This is the Norse mythology, as you do.
Right.
Teeth grinder. Teeth gnasher. That's a teeth gnasher one. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Thor, Goddess of Thunder, who is the female Thor? She doesn't immediately present herself to Thor. She doesn't say who it is. He realizes he's got a short list to look for. It's not Lady Sif.
Nope.
It's Jane Foster, which it looks as though she's the same one in the movie, as you can sort of see from this clip. It is Natalie Portman who is wielding Mjolnir in this situation. Now, again, this book goes to great pains to say that she is not Lady Thor. She's not Thorita. She is Thor, Goddess of Thunder.
Because she is the one now worthy of carrying the hammer.
Exactly. But there is, or at least there was, a character known as Thor Girl.
Yeah.
So her name, or at least her secret identity, was Tareen.
Right.
And as Thor Girl, which is what she was called, she took the identity of Tara Olsen and traveled to Earth, I believe. She fought with Thor, etc. She had like a white outfit, etc. But yeah, there is a Thor Girl. I don't think there's ever been a Lady Thor, but there is Thor Girl.
Freya, goddess of love, war, fertility, and a former Valkyrie, and Frigga, who is listed as the Queen of Asgard, and a wife of Odin. Although they tend to say that Freya might be Thor's mother, but then Frigga might be Thor's mother. So.
Yeah. Frigga is definitely the wife of Odin and was played by Renee Russo in the movie, but whether or not she's actually Thor's movie, that's where that comic and actual mythology and the movie get a little...
Yeah.
And apparently there was a Thor frog as well, but we're not talking about it.
It's a Throg.
There's a Throg in my throat.
Wash down whole mead.
Now, in Thor, Goddess of Thunder, which corporation is attacked? It's not the Tyrell Corporation.
You.
It's also not LexCorp.
Nope, that's those other guys.
So, you know where Tyrell Corporation's from, right?
Tyrell Corporation's the one that makes the fancy androids and Blade Runner in Los Angeles in the late 2000s.
By the way, you'll notice that Thor's riding a goat.
Yes, he is.
So LexCorp is LexCorp. Lex Luthor, that's his company, and no. Primatech is from the TV show Heroes. Remember them?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Tyrell is from Blade Runner. And no, but it was Roxxon that gets attacked. And
yes. And Roxxon's made various little appearances throughout Marvel Comics. And
but Todd, who's their CEO?
Currently, well, at least in this story.
It's not Carter Burke. He's the guy from Alien. You remember Alien?
Yeah.
It's not Richard or Dick Jones. He's from RoboCop.
Right.
It's Dario Agger. So, and by the way, Bill Parrish, he's a CEO. Can you name his movie?
He's in Meet Joe Black, ironically played
Yeah,
by Anthony Hopkins, the same guy who played Odin. But
exactly.
that was a totally different story.
So to recap, in Thor, Goddess of Thunder, Roxxon Corporation CEO Dario Agger is getting attacked.
Right.
What creatures are attacking? It is not snow elves.
No, it's not snow elves. Dang.
It's the frost giants.
Right.
They're big, they're blue, they're looking for something.
That Roxxon may or may not have, because, if you want to find out all the details, got to read the book.
Read the book. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But they're super cranky. And, in case you're sitting there thinking, but hey, frost giants are kind of stupid. How are they figuring out how to get in there and do this? They're being led by someone else.
Might even be being manipulated by someone else.
And who would that be?
That would be
It's Malekith.
Malekith, the Dark Elf.
Yeah. Now, Malekith was in which movie?
In Thor: The Dark World, ironically. Played by Christopher Eccleston, formerly of Doctor Who fame. Although he's a lot different in that movie than he is in the comics.
Yeah, but,
Because in the comics,
Yeah.
he's cool.
in this one, he's a little cranky. But, yeah. And all the other elves, in case you're sitting there saying, those were familiar. Yeah, those were Tolkien elves, because who knows more about elves than Tolkien.
JR. It's elven folk.
Okay. Don't be elfish. So, remember the Warriors 3?
I do.
Which of the following isn't one of the Warriors 3? And by the way, this is the way Todd and I drink coffee as well.
Yes. Like another.
I'm sorry, I just love this scene. So it was Fandral the Dashing, Hogan the Grim, and Volstagg the
Magnificent, the voluptuous, the
Enormous.
He has so many different platitudes.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause he's
Mm-hmm.
Volstagg.
In the first two movies, both the Warriors 3 and the Lady Sif
Yes.
figured in, although I don't know or at least I haven't seen them in the recent one. Lady Sif was played by Jamie Alexander. Volstagg was played by Ray Stevenson, and Fandral was played by Josh Dallas in Thor, and Zachary Levi, who played Shazam in The Dark World and Ragnarok, and Hogan,
played by Tadamnu Asano.
Yeah, Tadanobu Asano. But Ragnar, no. If the name sounds familiar, I'm going to ask if you've seen Vikings. Ragnar Lodbrok is a legendary Viking hero, the kind that gets legends and poems and songs and gets portrayed by Travis Fimmel in Vikings. But no, he doesn't hang with Thor, although probably he wants to.
Might have worshipped Thor.
As you do.
Like you said.
Or worshipped coffee, if you knew what it was.
Yes.
And as we said, Thor doesn't think he's worthy.
Right.
Who's whispered in his ear and told him
You're not
or made him feel unworthy? 3 little words. Yeah, it was Nick Fury. So we don't like to give a lot away, and I'm not going to give a lot away. And I don't know, obviously, the movie hasn't shown up the movie's going to come out in a couple of days. But in the comic book, yes, in the original Sin crossover, an evil Nick Fury whispered 3 words to Thor that made him unworthy of his hammer Mjolnir's power, or at least made him feel as though he was unworthy.
Right.
And then. So yeah, if you want to take a look at, if you want to dig into it, recommend it. Original Sin, I believe, is the name of the one before that. Then there's this.
Mm-hmm.
And between book 1 and 2 and Goddess of Thunder, I think by then he sort of worked through the issues, or at least made to feel more worthy. But yeah, he's got some issues he's got to work through.
Yeah. And while he does, someone else picks up the mantle and carries on in his stead.
Because we need Thor. And whosoever, do you remember? Whosoever picks up Mjolnir has the power of Thor.
So wield Mjolnir, have the power of Thor.
So again,
which is why they
tonight
call
we were
it
talking
Thor.
Funny how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
So tonight we're talking about Thor, Goddess of Thunder.
Yeah.
The Mjolnir lies on the moon, unable to be lifted. Everybody's tried, except apparently Freya. Something dark has been befallen the God of Thunder, leaving him unworthy for the first time ever. But when frost giants invade Earth, the hammer will be lifted, and a mysterious woman will be transformed into an all-new version of the mighty Thor. Who is this new Goddess of Thunder? Not even Odin knows. Nobody knows. I'm just wondering, how did she get on the moon? But again, you probably have to read Original Sin to figure that out. Get ready for a Thor like you've never seen. Plus, the Odin son, which is what Thor starts calling himself, clearly doesn't like that someone is wielding his hammer. You boys. And Odin is desperate to see Mjolnir return. Will call on some very dangerous and very unexpected allies. It's a bold new chapter in the storied history of Thor. And yes. It's, again, haven't seen the movie, don't know what they'll pick from it, but we've seen that they get inspired, that they get inspired, like the Hulk graphic novel that was an inspiration for what became the Thor movie, etc.
Yeah.
So this book is written by Jason Aaron, who is an award-winning comic book writer, best known for his work with Marvel Comics.
Yep.
He had a landmark 7-year run on Thor. And again, they say this book is the basis for the Love and Thunder, but we'll see. He's also written Wolverine, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Conan the Barbarian, and some Star Wars.
Yeah.
The covers were done by Russell Dauterman, I believe, and he's basically best known for his work with Boom Studios, and he did Nightwing for DC Comics.
Right.
There's also some lovely alternate covers.
Yes.
He's
Jorge
Molina.
Did all the
he's best known for his work with Marvel, and he is not to be confused with the professional footballer, which is to say soccer player Jorge Molina, who plays for Spain.
Right. Although he's cool too, Yeah,
but not the same guy.
Not the same guy. Totally different talents.
And the winner is JJ. You go. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Next week, I think we're doing Hawkman, unless we don't.
Yeah.
Again,
be another semi-barbaric guy wielding a major hammer-like weapon.
It'll be, feather soft. We do appreciate your feedback. We do take your suggestions. We just also sort of look at what we can do and what we can't do. And yeah, hit like, hit subscribe, share, bring friends, invite folks.
Send us suggestions, thoughts, criticisms, comments.
Last week, and we didn't tell you this, last week Todd was at Heroes Con. You could have seen him if you were in the Charlotte area. This weekend, I'm going to go to Eternal Con in Long Island. So if you're in Long Island, come by and say hi. And if we don't see you then, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Exactly. Same fun time, same fun channel.
Same bad jokes. All right. Bye.
Good night.